have tried and failed meditation. If you don't understand why it's helpful for your mental and physical health, you're doing it wrong. I have multiple failed attempts to start meditation on my record within the past 10 years of my life, but 8 weeks ago I started a series of meditations that finally worked out. Now I feel more present, relaxed at all times, stress can't get to me that easily, I work with my anxiety much better, I feel energized, motivated and purposeful. In this video I will tell you how I found the perfect way to start meditating and to continue doing it daily. I have built several new healthy habits recently, but meditation is the one and only that has changed my perspective and my perception of the world itself. I was never a big fan of meditation. I was never obsessed with the idea of finding Zen. You don't have to be easy just to start, and you don't have to have any experience in meditation to try this system. I have tried meditation multiple times at different stages of my life because I heard someone say it's good for you, that it can help you grow and progress in various areas of your life. It was always someone influential saying it, someone who has achieved a lot, so I assumed it's really good and also tried but never succeeded. So why did I not succeed many times before? That is because I didn't have my own why. I was expecting meditations to help me, but in what way? Did I have a problem to solve with meditations? No. Was I trying to make progress in a specific area in my life where meditation could be the answer to my struggles? Also no. And so I didn't feel the impact. I tried sitting in the silence and not thinking but following my thoughts as they always said to do. I could have spent 1 to 10 minutes trying, and it was always a one-time attempt. I did it once, it didn't work out, I quit. Also, it was just really hard for me to sit still. I'm not the type of person who struggles to be on my own or to be in the quiet. I have always enjoyed my alone time, and I have always tried making time specifically to be alone with my thoughts. But meditation involves no thinking, so I was always genuinely confused and not knowing what to do. There was a time when meditation almost worked out for me, but for a really short period of time, and it was more of a firefighting method. I did have my own reason to meditate at the time, but it was an extreme emergency. It was at the start of the full-scale invasion in Ukraine. I'm Ukrainian. I went abroad for some time to live in the UK to get to safety, and during my time there I was introduced to a woman who I like to say she was a local friend of mine. Not sure how appropriate it is to call her friend because I was 18 and she's a grown woman who has a daughter the same age as me. But anyway, she's a really nice person who I got to spend a lot of time with, and she also happened to be a doctor, and she introduced me to Headspace. She said, hey, there's a really good app for meditations and it's free at the time for Ukrainians because they're being supportive in this way. So she shared the access with me. It was some sort of the code for Ukrainians, if I remember it correctly. She also took me to yoga and just shared many helpful pieces of advice on how to deal with stress and anxiety. I honestly do not remember much meditating. I don't think I really managed meditating. I just listened to soothing voices from the app to calm down. I was partly blacked out at the time. I was 18, I was in shock, I have moved to a foreign country for the first time, and so meditation was only a firefighting method and not a stable habit. This time, my current habit of meditating daily, I was not pushing myself toward meditations. I just started and was open to see what happens. And also this time my approach towards meditation was much more researched and I knew what I was doing it for. When I tried meditation before, it was always because someone said it was useful. Someone said that sitting cross-legged and holding your hands like this is good for you. I never knew my personal why. I didn't have a real reason to start meditating, so it only makes sense that I didn't make it before. This time I knew I was too caught up with all the changes that were going on in my life. It was not a negative experience. I didn't have intrusive thoughts or emotions on a level that was higher than normal. I was not depressed, I was not too stressed or exhausted. I was anxious, to be fair. There was a lot of uncertainty in my life at the time. It didn't feel critical in my life, but I was overwhelmed. Everything was happening too quickly and too slowly at the same time. I had filled my head with too much unnecessary information and I just really needed to slow down. My thoughts were much faster than I could follow them, so I needed to take a pause. And what a better pause than literally silence and doing nothing. Now, before I try to do that, silence and doing nothing, know that it's not effective. The most effective way to start meditating is guided meditations. I have started with Headspace Guide to Meditation on Netflix. Headspace. It's really nice because you can simply watch Netflix, what you probably do already, and at the same time do something nice for yourself. It's a beautiful series with 8 episodes with pretty soothing animations that easily and softly catch your attention. Each episode covers a new story, talks about a new emotion, and introduces a new practice. So what I did was I watched one episode a day to make the process step by step, to let it sink in slowly. Every new episode has a story at the start and a meditation practice and exercise at the end. So I both watched the story and did a practical exercise. It was also in this series where they stated that research shows that meditating daily for 8 weeks provokes visible changes in your brain. And it's obviously all the good changes. They make you less anxious, less stressed, and more calm, focused, and present. So that's why I chose the 8 weeks period of time. I thought if I'm already doing it, I might as well stay consistent and see what happens. Guided meditations are much easier because they tell you what to focus on. It can be your breath, a visualization, sensation, sounds, all those different anchors, but you don't simply sit in the silence. You have some activity going on in your brain, but it's always very soft and aimed specifically at slowing you down. So this was my first week, just following the series. Then I continued to another series, also by Headspace, also on Netflix, but this time it was a guide to sleep. So I tried meditating on my own during the day for at least a few minutes, maximum for 10. And by the way, an important mention, when I say I meditated daily for 8 weeks, I don't mean that I have spent an hour daily to meditate. I mean 3 to 12 minutes. I know there are many experts who sit still for an hour and meditate for days. I'm not trying to do so because firstly it seems too hard for me, and secondly not even necessary at the moment at this stage of my life. So I spent a few minutes meditating during the day, and then I watched an episode of Headspace Guide to Sleep in the evening. I did it before going to the shower and doing all the evening rituals, even though it is supposed to be done right before you sleep because it contains a wind down exercise. Headspace series look gorgeous. They have very nice animations, but I find them too bright and stimulating to watch right before going to sleep. So I watched them in the evening and then gave myself some time without screens to prepare to sleep. The structure of the episodes is the same. Every new episode has a story, scientific facts, or in this case myths debunked about sleep, and then a guided meditation, which is usually a wind down exercise when it's supposed to guide you to sleep. This series contains 7 episodes, so I was 2 weeks into the 8-week challenge when I was done watching it. When I was done with the guides, I just downloaded the Headspace app to keep practicing daily. It has a month of free trial, so you don't have to pay if you don't feel the effect after. Inside of this app you will find guided meditations, top picks for you daily, also targeted sessions specifically for tough moments when you're feeling anxious or you're experiencing work stress. It also has so-called mindful activities, like a minute of deep breath, which I like to do in the morning to wake up and not to fall back to sleep as I usually do. It has relaxing music and sounds, and also sleepcasts, which are like podcasts but aimed specifically to make you fall asleep. They have wind down exercises at the start and then fantasy stories after. And also on this app you will find every day divided in 3 sections of the morning, afternoon and night. In the morning there will be a mindful activity, a wake up story, and a meditation. Then during the afternoon it can be either a meditation or a podcast or a training exercises, and then in the evening you will see a sleepcast. I could feel the positive effect of meditation even when I just started meditating with the guide, but they usually say at the end of each episode that you should take this type of thinking as the ability to pause and slow down to your everyday life. I couldn't do this for a really long time. It wasn't until at least week 5, so I just kept doing it daily. I usually aimed for a regular guided meditation. If I was too caught up with something, I would find at least 3 minutes for a short meditation. When I was anxious or overwhelmed with uncertainty, I chose targeted meditations to work specifically with the problem. And then when I was too busy during the day and I forgot to meditate, I would listen to at least a sleepcast and do the wind down exercise. So when I'm already in bed ready to sleep, I turn on the sleepcast, and each one of them has a wind down exercise at the start. So it takes a few minutes, you don't have to look at any screens, it's just an audio and it's always narrated in a very soothing voice, so it really sets you up for a good night's sleep. I also had a very uncertain stage for a week or maybe 2 weeks in the middle of this 8-week process, and those days I did a lot of meditating. I would do a mindful activity, which is normally 5 deep breaths in the morning, then I would do a guided meditation during the day, and then I would listen to a sleepcast when I'm going to bed. And I not only did wind down exercises, but also tried listening to stories. I didn't listen to the text, but just the voice, until I felt calm and safe enough to fall asleep. And now, after 8 weeks, I can tell that this amount of meditation had a great effect. I was never able to focus as well as I am now. I was usually hyper-stimulated by the sounds, overwhelmed by new environments, and many events happening at a short period of time. Guided meditations helped the most, I think. They have these magical phrases that keep you in the right state of mind. When you have enough understanding about the practice, you can finally feel what is that gentle, soft focus. You can finally focus on the sensations and let the sounds come and go instead of resisting them. I feel like a different person now. I finally understand what mindfulness means. I take deeper breaths. I don't panic, almost. I know how to work with my anxiety better. I handle overwhelms better, and I feel overwhelmed much less often. I can pause and slow down during the day, even if it feels like everything's urgent and everything's falling apart, and then I continue with a much calmer mind. So I'm happy I started this challenge, and I plan to continue meditating daily. It is definitely the smallest habit that had the biggest impact on my life, because I finally can think clearly. And if you're interested in how to build such small rituals with big impact, follow my channel not to miss the Atomic Habits book review that is coming soon. Thanks for being with me today, and see you in a week.